because I need this for the next section. Okay, ready? What do I do first? So I have x over
Minus 1.
excellent minus excellent. Two restrictions then. Very good. Many did very well. I'm very pleased. But I had to say something so I can do this. I need the LCD. How many different factors we see here? Different factors.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2.
2. Very good. Powers now, please. X plus 1?
1.
Perfect. So adjustments now.
The first one is x minus 1. X plus 1. So x squared minus 1x minus 2x plus 2.
Good. And finally, which cannot be further factored. Okay? Because I need this now. Good. So solving rational equations. So this is solving rational equations. Rational equations are of 2 types. Rational equations, type 1 and type 2. The first one is easy. Proportions. The second one is way more difficult. Not proportions. We start with the easy one. On page 479, between 13 and 24. Can anyone choose 13 and 24? Can anyone choose a proportion? No, 16 is not a proportion. It has 3 fractions. No, you don't have a book. 14. 6 divided by 4 minus 3x equals negative 3. This is a proportion. A fraction line on the left and a fraction line on the right. A proportion looks like this. A divided by B equals C over D. Only in a proportion I'm allowed to what? So AD equals BC. Only in a proportion. Is this a proportion? A fraction on the left, the equal symbol in the middle, and a fraction on the right. It is a proportion. I need to state a restriction before I cross multiply. So So 4 minus 3x cannot equal 0. I move 4 to the other side. Negative 3x cannot equal negative 4. Therefore, x cannot equal 4/3. So this is the only restriction. X cannot equal 4/3. Now I'm ready to cross multiply. So please tell me what to write. Equals. You don't have to do it in your head, so you can just write this first. So this must equal this product. I would recommend divide both sides by -3. Okay, let's say we don't see that. So 6 equals -12 plus 9x. What now? Very good. So I have 18 equals 9x. Therefore, x equals 2. My first thought is here. Is this on the list of restrictions? Is this on the list of restrictions? So, solution. So this is how proportions work. Allow me to choose one more. There are not enough proportions here. Yes, I would like you to work on 13. Just two proportions, really? 3 divided by 2a minus 5 equals -1. So please work on this and give me a. And then we look at way more complicated situations. Ready? So you will write a does not equal. Very good. And then, because this is a proportion and only in a proportion I can do this, I'll multiply 3 by 1 and I'll say equals negative in parentheses 2a minus 5. I will distribute, so 3 equals -2a plus 5. I will subtract 5. I will get -2 equals -2a. A appears to be 1, and it's not on my list. I'll say yes. Did we get one? Good. Perfect. Excellent. So now the more complicated situations. What we are going to do is we are going to take a complicated situation, turn it into a proportion, and then cross multiply. Okay? So I'll start with oh, I just found two more proportions, 35 and 36. I didn't see them. Okay, I'm going to start with a complicated situation, 40. You will be able to handle this with no problems because you were able to add and subtract fractions, rational expressions. So 3 divided by x plus 3 equals 12x plus 19 over x squared plus 7x minus plus 12, and then minus 5 divided by x plus 4. Is this a proportion? No. No, it's not a proportion. Here's what I am going to do, and I recommend my method. You can say after you read the book, I prefer the book, I'm fine. If you think that the book is easier, use the method in the book. Okay, I see 3 fractions. One is on the left-hand side, the other 2 are on the right-hand side. I would like to move them and set the whole thing equal to 0. So I'm going to take this fraction. It has positive in front. When I move it to the other side, it will we will have negative in front. And I'm going to take this fraction that has minus in front to the other side. It will become positive. So I have 3 over x plus 3, but minus 12x plus 19 over, can anyone factor the denominator for me because we have to do it anyway? So x plus 3 and x plus 4. 5 over x plus 4. Okay, one more time. Let's look at this and understand that there is no change. We did not change the problem. I moved two terms by changing the sign in front of them from one side to the other. Am I allowed to do that? It's like when I move a term from one side, it's like 2. I'm moving 2 from here, it becomes negative 2 from here on the other side. I'm moving negative 7 from here to the other side, it becomes positive 7. So this was positive, now it's negative. This is negative, now it's positive. I have 2 restrictions to write. I need the least common denominator as we did before. No change. So far, we have not learned anything new. I'm allowed to move terms from one side to the other, and I know how to state restrictions and find the least common denominator, which is? I know how to find adjustments. What are the adjustments? Excellent. This one does not need anything, or if you want to write something, you can write 1. You don't have to. And the last one needs? Excellent. Now, please dictate. No news. Nothing new so far. Very good. Careful. The negative in front gets distributed to the corresponding numerator. Excellent. Now, allow me to remind you that you can, I saw it in a quiz, so I'm going to stop for a moment. I'm going to stop it here for a moment. I'll come back in a second. I don't want to see this. It's okay if you write 3x plus 4 minus 12x plus 19 plus 5x plus 3 over x plus 3 times. Do not write this portion. I'm going to get rid of it. I saw this on one of your quizzes. I didn't look at all of them. Is this allowed? No. That's why I don't write this. I write this because I'm hoping that you are not going to be tempted to simplify x plus 3 with anything from the top and x plus 4 with anything from the top. So it's okay if you write this, but you cannot simplify. You have to distribute, combine like terms. You cannot touch this. So that's the reason why I don't write this, which is not incorrect. Incorrect is to start simplifying. Okay? So please remember that. We cannot simplify x plus 3 with x plus 3 because x plus 3 is not a factor up here. Okay? Good. So I'm going to get rid of this. So then coming back, I have to combine like terms. I know that that's what the book does, and it's confusing. I know that. Okay, combine like terms. I have a 3x, I have a 5x, which is an 8x, minus 12x. Excellent. I have a 12, I have a negative 19, which is negative 7, and negative 7 plus 15, which is 8. You allow me to write 5 as 5 over 1? Do you allow me to write 5 as 5 over 1? Are they the same? Well, it means that you will allow me to write 0 as 0 over 1. Still 0. But why do you think I wrote 0 over 1? Because I'm hinting at something. What am I hinting at? Exactly, changing into a proportion. So then, what would you tell me to write? Negative 4x plus 8 equals? Exactly. I know how to solve this. What should I do? Negative 4x equals negative 8. Therefore, x equals 2. I have to check here. That's why I wrote these. Is 2 on that list? No. So I'm going to say yes. Solution, in other words. This is it. Because it's easier to see that this is a proportion. Now, does it matter if you put any number in here for 0? For 0, it doesn't matter. You can even put 100. Even if you when you multiply, you'll divide both sides by 100 because this side will still be 0. So the easiest thing to do is just write 1. But regardless of any number you write, 0 over any number is still 0. Okay? So I want us to do one more, and then I want you to practice. And after this, I only have one more concept to show you, which is all the same, actually. Okay. Let's do together one more, I think. 42. 2t plus 3 over t minus 1 minus 2 over t plus 3 equals 5 minus 6t over t squared plus 2t minus 3. I want you to teach me step by step what to do, and I'll do it. What will you tell me to do first? Excellent. This expression to the other side. But please pay attention. If I forget this, I will never solve for anything. In other words, I'm changing, bless you, I'm changing the equation into an expression if I don't write this. I will write 2t plus 3 over t minus 1 minus 2 over t plus 3 minus the top minus 5 minus 6t over. Now it's time for me to write what? Right, I also look here. It doesn't mean that it always happens. And you cannot fabricate it. It has to be there. Which means you're going to give me 2 restrictions. 1 and negative 3. Then, please pay attention for a second. Look what I do. Because if I forget this, the whole thing collapses. Okay. Now I find what? So first you told me to move this to the other side. Excellent. Then you told me to factor. Then restrictions. Now what? And this is your hint, which is adjustments. Or you can call them the way you like. I call them adjustment. I don't know how else to call them. I have to adjust the numerator because I adjusted the denominator. Perfect. Now, I don't recommend you write them side by side. I recommend you distribute slowly. T distributed to these two, and then 3 distributed to these two. And please tell me what to write. When I distribute t to these two terms, plus 3t. I'm done with t. Plus 6t plus 9. I'm done with the first fraction completely. Now I'm moving on to the second fraction. Very good. Plus 2. Very good. I'm done with the second fraction. Now third fraction. Yes. Excellent. I'm done with everything now. Now, I'm not tempted to simplify because the numerator is all a big thing. So I can't even think of simplifying anything. I will not be tempted. What will be the next step? Good, I'm ready. So 2t squared is the first term. Done. Then I have 3t, 6t, negative 2t, and 6t. I think so. Because I have 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 3 is 15, and minus 2 is 13. Excellent. So these are gone. And now, excellent. The denominator. Now, please don't forget, now I'm doing this just to remind myself what I need to do next. And what do I need to do next? Good. So what do I get? Excellent. Now, there is a shortcut. I would like at least to mention it to you. I'm given a fraction, and I'm told this fraction is 0. When can a fraction be 0? I have a over b. When can this fraction be 0? A over b. The denominator, if the denominator is 0, I'm in big trouble because the fraction is undefined. So then what else is left? The numerator. So, and you see this is what happens. A fraction is 0, the numerator has to be 0. That's a shortcut. Now, you don't have to memorize that. You just cross multiply, and that's what you get. The numerator has to be 0 because the denominator can never be 0. Good. Okay. Now, I'm asked to solve this equation. I don't have to factor. I have other methods. Specifically, what method? I don't have to do 2 times 6 and it's 12, break 13 into 1 and 2 and 12. And no, I have another method that goes very fast. Which one? It's called, we have 4. We learned 4 methods of solving quadratic equations. We didn't even need 4. Factoring, taking square roots, completing the square, and quadratic formula. You can use a quadratic formula if you want to. If not, then you have the product, which is 12, and the sum, which is which numbers we need, or the quadratic formula. You decide. Nobody tells you what to do now, which method to apply. You want to go ahead with this, or? Yes? Okay. And the numbers are? Very good. So then 2t squared plus 12t plus t plus 6 equals 0. What do we do with 4 terms? Grouping. What will you do, or what will you factor out from the first 2? Very good. What is left? Good. What has to come out from the other 2 mandatory? And then plus 1. So it's t plus 6, and in parentheses, if you forget the equal symbol and 0, you will never solve for anything. You will get stuck. So t plus 6 and? Very good. So now there are 2 options. T equals and t equals. Careful.
T equals negative 6.
Correct. And negative 1/2. Here's my first thought. That's why I worked hard and wrote this here. This is what I have to check. Because if this is among this list, I'll have to say no way. But -6 and -1/2 are not on the list. Now, this is not a trivial problem at all. Here's how many steps and how much I check with this, how many topics. Number one, moving one term from one side to the other and writing 0 on the other side. Number two, factoring from here. Number three, stating restrictions. Number four, being able to come up with the correct adjustments so you can present this correctly, right? Knowing how to add and subtract fractions. Combining like terms, next step. Changing it into a proportion and cross multiplying. Being able to see how to factor this and how to find the two numbers, yada yada. Changing it into four terms. Factoring by grouping. Zero product principle. Writing solutions. Checking whether they're on the list. It took me like 3 minutes just to mention the steps on this problem. It's not a trivial problem at all. Okay, now I would like us to choose two problems for you to practice. I'd like to look at 38. Let's start with 38 and then we choose 36. So 1 over x plus 2 equals 4 over x squared minus 4 minus 1 over x minus 2. So our test 4 is on Monday, a week from today. By next Monday, please finish up all your homework. I posted the homework grade for test 3, and for some of you who already finished everything, I posted both grades for test 3 and test 4 homework. Yes. Let me know if you need help. Do we need more time? Okay. Ready? Good. So what should I do first? So I have 1 over x plus 2, and then over, and let's factor the denominator now. Good. And then, yes, if I forget to write 0 on the other side, I will change the equation into an expression, and I will never solve for x. I cannot stress that enough. I will write 2 restrictions right away. And then which is now I will, it will sound mean, forgive me, but if you write 1 minus 4 plus 1 at the top, I will not look at this problem because you know it's not possible, right? So there are adjustments, although this one is just 1, for both first and last fraction, which are good. So then good. Now I combine like terms. I see that the negative 2 with positive 2, when I add them up, I get 0. So then the numerator is over x plus 2, very good, x minus 2, 0 over 1. Now I'm ready to write 0 over 1 because the left-hand side is just one fraction. I started with 3 fractions, but I changed all this into one fraction. And now there is a point in writing 0 over 1. I don't need to write it here. It's not going to make any difference. I don't need to write it here yet because I need to combine like terms first. So this is where I need it. And now all you can say, oh, I know. This fraction equals 0. The numerator must be 0. One or the other. Or you cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, what do you get? I know how to solve this. 2x equals, and x equals. However, so what do I conclude? How many solutions does this equation have? No solutions. No solutions. X equals 2 is on the list of restrictions. It makes 2 denominators 0 and 2 fractions undefined. So this equation, the left-hand side, for no x ever, the left-hand side will not be able to equal the right-hand side for no x. Okay? Feeling somewhat better? Okay, so let's also do 36. 36 is much easier. Can anyone explain why? I'm not changing the rules on you, but on this problem, you should not take x minus 4 over x to the other side. Because this is already a proportion. But you have to state 2 restrictions before you cross multiply. Yes, and 0. Now, do you see the importance of stating restrictions? If I hadn't stated restrictions, I would have forgotten to go back and check. I would say, oh, x equals 2. No, because I have this. Okay, so now do not move because you only have 2 fractions. If you had more than 2 fractions, 3 or more, then yes, I would recommend move x minus 4 over x to the other side. But here, once you state the restrictions, you can go ahead and do this. Okay, so let's take 2 minutes on this. And then I would like to look at problems 43 through 54 on page 480. Can anyone dictate or not yet? Very good. That is the first step. Excellent. Excellent. Now I dig deep. Oh, this is quadratic, so I have to have 0 on one side and in descending order. So x squared yes to both. Okay. The problems we did today are far from being enough to build confidence when it comes to rational equations. So please practice this. We're going to choose more problems, but I want to finish and then we'll come back. 43 through 54. Allow me to start with 46 and then you choose the next one. I equals A over T plus B. We're asked to solve for lowercase t. And you can say, but I see I in there, I see A, I see B, I see T, why T? This is what we're asked to do. We're asked to consider I, A, and B as if they were numbers. They're not numbers, but we have to assume that they are known. So as if we had numbers in there. How do I solve for T? What type of equation is this? T is in the denominator. When T is in the denominator, the equation is called what are we talking about in this chapter? Right? Yes, it's a proportion. Rational equations, right? If the variable is in the denominator and there is a ratio, of course, it's a denominator, then it's a rational equation. Good. How do I solve this? And you're right, it's a proportion, which means this. How do I solve it? Good. So tell me what to write. Very good. And I will distribute exactly. IT plus IB equals A. Let me remind you, we are solving for lowercase t. What should I do? I can't. Minus IB first. So minus IB. So A minus IB equals IT. Although you're not incorrect. I could divide both sides by I. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And now remember we are solving for T. So T equals, you have two options. You can divide by I each term separately, or you can write a long fraction line and divide by I. And the numerator is A minus IB. But please do not try or attempt to simplify this I with this I, because this I is not a factor in the numerator. You could separate the fraction. I agree with that. A over I minus IB over I. And yes, now you can simplify the I if you want to. So T equals A over I minus B. I accept that. But if you do this, I'll say never. Please. Because one more time, I is not a factor at the top. It's just part of a term at the top. Okay, perfect. Next problem. Please choose anything you want from 43 through 54. These are very important type of problems. These are models from electronics, water purification, merchandising, hydrology, health, geometry, urban forestry, medicine, geometry, electronics that are asked. There are models that we are asked to solve for a particular letter. So anything you want, 43 through 54. 52. W equals C E squared divided by 2. We're asked to solve for C. In all these models, if you encounter an uppercase T and a lowercase t, they are not the same variable. If you encounter an uppercase A and a lowercase a, they're not the same variable. I'm not saying we have that situation right now, but good. I'm asked to solve for C. What would you recommend first? Exactly. It's a proportion. They're all proportions if you look carefully. Almost all of them. So then what do I have? Yes, equals 2W equals CE squared. I'm solving for C. What should I do? Yes, Freddie? But both sides by? Of course. 2W divided by A squared. Done. Okay, I would like to choose 50. This is from medicine. C equals D, in parentheses, A plus 1 divided by 24. And we are asked to solve for A. Please tell me the first step. Ready? Cross multiply. So 24C equals D, in parentheses, A plus 1. What next? Yes, 24C equals DA plus D. We're still solving for A.
Wouldn't it be simpler just to divide by 8?
You can. Yes. Absolutely. So what now? So 24C minus D equals DA. Finally, A. Ready? Thank you. Now you can separate the fraction and you'll get the same thing. 24C over D minus D over D. How much is D over D? 1. So the other possibility is 24C over D minus 1. Okay, the last thing that this is really the last topic. I don't have any more topics. Is the last section. We do not cover, don't ask me why. My department said no. Okay, fine. The last section is 7.7. We do not cover 7.6. So 7.7, complex rational expressions. Well, complex means complicated in a way and difficult. Yes, I agree. Some of them are. I would like to start with problem I want to start with one that is simple. Yes, I'm going to start with 6. On page 500. X divided by x plus 2, everything divided by 2 over x plus 2. Why is this complex? Oh, because it has a fraction over another fraction. Or you may have addition subtraction at the top and addition subtraction at the bottom. So this is one that is just a warm-up right now. For this fraction to exist, you will give me a restriction, which is right. And of course, for this one, you're going to give me the same restriction. I don't have to write it twice. And now I'm going to ask you, how do we divide two fractions? I copy the top, and I flip the denominator, correct? I have a new denominator, but it's 2, and 2 cannot be 0, so there is nothing else I can add here. But now I'm ready to simplify, because I stated the restrictions, and I'm ready. What? What am I simplifying? This is a multiplication of two rational expressions. X plus 2 goes away, and the simplified form is x over 2, incorporated with a condition. So this fraction simplifies to x over 2 only if x is not negative 2. So now I'm going to choose something more complicated. And I really wanted something intermediary, but, oh yeah, 28. Same page, 500. 5 over x squared minus 2 over x. Everything divided by 1 over x plus 2. Yeah, this is complex. This is way more difficult than the previous situation, the previous example. Because now I'm faced with operations in the numerator, and I'm faced with operations in the denominator. So, like before, I need the least common denominator and the least common denominator. I'm going to perform the operations as if, in the numerator, as if the denominator does not exist, or vice versa. So I'm even going to cover this. Assume it's not there. How many restrictions will you give me for the numerator? One, which is x not equals 0. Now I would like you to give me the least common denominator for the top. Very good. Now I need the adjustments. For the first one, you'll say maybe 1, but nothing else. Well, what will you say for the second one? Yes, just x. And now please give me the numerator. Very good. What is the numerator of the fraction in the numerator? Excellent. Now forget about the numerator, and let's look at the denominator. I have two fractions to add, 1 over x and 2 over? Very good. What is the least common denominator? Good. So now what will you multiply the top by and the top by? Of course, the first one doesn't need anything. I'm going to just write 1. But the second one needs? Very good. And now please give me the top of the second fraction, which is in the denominator. So 1 plus 2x. Excellent. Now I'm back to the simple case. What do I do with two fractions that are divided? I copy the top as is. And what do I do with the denominator? Yes. But now I have a new denominator, new factor that I did not have before. So I have to add one more restriction on the list, to the list of restrictions. From here. I move 1 to the other side and I divide by 2. X not equal, negative 1/2. Good. So is there anything I can get rid of? Because 5 minus 2x and 1 plus 2x I can't touch. But is there anything else that I could get rid of? Yes. 1 and the power is gone. So I will put it in descending order and factor out negative 1. 2x minus 5 over x, 2x plus 1. So the final simplified form is negative quantity 2x minus 5 over x times 2x plus 1. Everything is in descending order, everything with positive leading coefficients. Assuming, yes?
Would you give credit if you put 5 minus 2x on that one?
Yes, of course. However, the fact that you factor out the negative leading coefficient and keep everything with positive leading coefficient, because from here I would rewrite it with minus in front. It's useful for what we are going to do next. I don't know exactly what your next step in math is, but this is fine. However, this is somewhat better for what follows. Okay, I would like to choose 44. It looks awful. If I don't remember what x to negative 2, y to negative 1, and x to negative 1 mean, I'm not going to be able to simplify this. So what does x to negative 2 mean? What is its replacement? What can I replace that by or with? So, no. X to negative 2, first of all.
5 over x.
So this is 1 over x squared. Very good, yes. So 5 over x squared minus 3 over y over plus. Thank you very much. Do we all agree with this? So any number raised to a negative exponent does not necessarily mean negative. It could be, but it only means that that is a fraction. Is this clear? So we are using this property. A to negative n equals 1 over a to the n. Of course, a cannot be 0. Okay, so now I know what I need to do. Of course, x and y cannot be 0. That's all I would like you to write. Okay, I need the least common denominator for the numerator. Forget about the denominator for a while. What is the least common denominator for the numerator? Very good. Good. Adjustments now. Yes, and for the other one? Bless you. Good. Can anyone dictate the numerator of the numerator? Very good. Forget about the numerator now, and let's look at the denominator. What is the least common denominator in the denominator? Very good. And then adjustments. Good. So what would you tell me to write for the top? Okay. Now we're back. We have a fraction at the top, a fraction in the denominator. What do we do with this? How do I divide two fractions? So 5y minus 3x squared over x squared y multiplied by. So now this is a new denominator. I'm only going to write y plus x not equal 0. Can I simplify anything? I'm hoping to get rid of something. Very good. So the numerator, negative 3x squared minus 5y over x plus y. Okay, number 20, for example, or 18. It's not sufficient that they are complex, but there is also a twist in there. Okay, so please choose 18 or 20. Okay, 18. 3 over x minus 4 minus 2 over 4 minus x over 2 over x minus 4 minus 2 over x. I look at the denominator and I'm okay with what I see. But I look at the numerator and I'm not okay with what I see. Which one? Which one I definitely don't like? Which one? 4 minus x, indeed. I don't like this one. So 4 minus x is the same with negative x plus 4, which is the same with, yes? Right? Because negative 1 times x is this, negative 1 times negative 4 is that. So I will be replacing this by this. That's my first step. Therefore, I have 3 over x minus 4 minus 2 over negative x minus 4 over 2 over x minus 4 minus 2 over x. But now I have to make one more adjustment and then I'll be on my way to simplifying this. Can anyone tell us what is that adjustment that I'm talking about? Positive divided by negative is, but there is a minus in front. Very good. So then please dictate, what would you write for the top? Very good. Exactly. All this work was just preparation, nothing else. Now you're going to give me 2 restrictions, and then we can talk about the rest. And the restrictions are 0 and 4 indeed. But the numerator is nice. Now it is. Why? Because I'm adding 2 fractions with the same denominator. And I know how to do that. 3 over x minus 4 plus 2 over x minus 4 is 5 over x minus 4. Good. Nice. Now the denominator needs an LCD. What is the LCD of the denominator? Very good. 2 different factors, they have to be in the least common denominator. As x is a factor, x minus 4 is a totally different factor. They have to be. Very good. So then adjustments. X for the first one, and x minus 4 for the second one. Please dictate the numerator of the denominator, of the fraction in the denominator. Yes? Yes? Excellent. But it turns out that 2x minus 2x is good. So I copy the fraction from the top and I multiply it by excellent. Well, I stated all my restrictions. I'm ready Is there anything I can do here? Simplified form of this expression, assuming conditions are fulfilled. 5x over 8 indeed. Now I'm going to choose 20 for you to do. This is the end of the material for this course. There is nothing else. You know as much as I do. 5 over a plus 2 minus 1 over a minus 2 over 3 over 2 plus a plus 6 over 2 minus a. Good luck. Careful. Everything is nice except one that is twisted and it needs work. Let's see. Do we need more time? Okay. So where's my starting point? Yes. I like this. I like this. This is easy. I just have to rearrange it into a plus 2. But this is a problem. Because when I arrange it like this, I notice that I have to factor out -1 into a minus 2. Agreed? Okay, the top is a not equal plus or minus 2. What would be the least common denominator for the top? And the adjustments. So then the top then has 5a minus 10 minus a minus 2. Do we agree with the top? 5a minus 10 minus a minus 2. But the denominator has to be rearranged. So this is 3 over a plus 2, but minus 6 over a minus 2. Do we agree with that? So the denominator will be 3 over a plus 2 minus 6 over a minus 2. Agreed? Okay. So therefore, I'm going to write it one more time. 5a minus a is 4a and minus 12 divided by a plus 2, a minus 2. Again, the same thing, a plus 2, a minus 2, but both needs necessary adjustments. 3 will be multiplied by, correct, very good, and then a plus 2. So then I have 3a minus 6 minus 6a minus 12. Is that okay so far? So then the numerator, I factor out a 4, a minus 3 over a plus 2, a minus 2. And the denominator is negative 3a minus 18. Yes, negative 3 minus 18 over a plus 2, a minus 2. So now I copy the top and I flip the denominator. And I factor out negative 3. So that's one of the reasons why everything should be in descending order and the negative leading coefficient should be out. And of course I have one more restriction to add here. A cannot be negative 6. A cannot be negative 6. So then at this point I decide what to get rid of. Is there anything I can get rid of? I really hope so. So negative 4a minus 3 over 3a plus 6. With the restrictions that a cannot be plus or minus 2 and a cannot be negative 6. Okay, we have 15 minutes left. Please choose anything you want. We can get fancy with 68 or 66, but we don't need to. So anything you like from 1 through 50. Anything you like to choose from 1 through 50. I stopped numbering them, so if I drop them, it would be horrible. $50. So 3x to negative 1 plus 3y to negative 1 over 4x to negative 2 minus 9y to negative 2. Perfect. Okay, so let's Work on this for 2 minutes. Freddie and Aaron, you were not here when we discussed. Please fill out the student opinion forms so that my boss doesn't think that I have a reason not to remind you. I don't think you were here when we discussed that.
Just give us a paper for it.
Hmm?
Is there a paper for it?
No, I'll show you in a minute. Okay, here it is. When you log in to my ACC, you go to menu, self-services, and click on student opinion forms. Okay, after you click on that, all your courses will pop up, and then you click on the course. It will take you 10 minutes to fill it out. Print out the very last page, like your colleagues did, where it says, thank you for filling out the survey. Okay, and just write your name on it. And you get 5% extra in your final exam.
20.
Really? No. Can you believe it? Can anyone dictate the first step for everyone to see? What is the first step here? So 3, no, careful. 3 has power 1. 3 cannot go anywhere. So this is 3 over x plus 3 over y. This would have been this. Clear? Perfect. The denominator now. Indeed. Do we all have this step? Yes? Okay. Of course, x and y cannot be 0. Now what is the next step?
Make your bottom versus
Okay, so what is this?
next one.
Very good. Adjustments.
Y.
So then the top.
Very supposed to be 3-1.
Do we all agree with the top fraction? Any questions? Okay, the denominator, please. Adjustments. Top. 4y squared minus. Very good. Perfect. Then, what do I do next?
write well, let's see, non-equivalence.
So I will factor out here a 3.
Again, for x squared, y squared, not true.
Yes, but it's the same thing. If I wrote x and y cannot be 0, x squared and y squared will not be 0, x cubed and y cubed will not be 0. So it's not a mistake, it's not an error. But once I have this is automatic. Good? So over xy multiplied by x squared y squared. Careful now. I will factor out -1 and I will put in parentheses 9x squared minus 4y squared. I can get rid of 2 of those. What I have to add to the list of restrictions is this. You don't have to solve anything there. So I'll put x and y right here in front. So 3xy in parentheses x plus y minus in front, and I will factor the denominator. You can say, even if you factor it, you're not going to be able to simplify anything. I would agree. How do I factor 9x squared minus 4y squared?
So,
3x minus,
2y.
very good, 3x plus 2. So this is it. Yes, these complex rational expressions can be difficult. I think that this is a difficult problem. I don't think that this is an easy problem at all. Okay,
So,
yes.
quick question. Did you have to change the
No, but I like since I have xy, I like to have xy because maybe I can factor something and simplify. No, I wouldn't say necessarily, but I would like to keep everything in order, and xy is the order. Unless you say no, for me y is more important than x, then I'll have to say okay, for you the order is yx. But it's not, even if you keep it like this, I'll give full credit. Okay, I think we have time for one more. Please choose. You can choose from the previous sections. You can choose from page 480, an equation, or a model to solve for a letter. You can choose anything from chapter 7 or chapter 12. Anything else you would like to look at? If you don't choose, I will. Okay, 31 on page 480. 2 over x minus 2 plus 1 equals x over x minus 2. Last problem for tonight.
Just a 0.
Yes. Yes, I recommend take everything to one side. However, there is an easier way, but I think this is a good method. Just an easier way just for this problem. I think I mentioned this before. I think that now, when you know so much, once you're able to go through all these steps of a rational equation, you can pat yourselves and say, I've got algebra skills. I'm serious. This is not easy. So x cannot be 2. What is the least common denominator? If you forget one more time, I know I sound like a super broken record, but if you forget this, you're changing the problem and you're not going to solve for anything. So the LCD, no adjustments. But what is the adjustment on the middle fraction? Of course. So now please tell me what you would write at the top. Careful. I'm only distributing 1 to these two. So plus x minus 2 and minus x. Now combine like terms. What is left at the top? So negative 2 with positive 2 go away. Positive x with negative x go away. Right? So I had 2. I had plus x minus 2. I had minus x. But x with negative x go away. And 2 with minus 2 go away. So I have 0 divided by x minus 2 equals 0. Okay? So, cross multiply. 0 equals. Do you accept if I tell you 0 is the same thing with 0? But you will not accept if I would tell you 0 equals 5, right? But 0 equals 0, and I did not determine x. What does that mean?
All solutions.
Also except. Exactly. Exactly. So solutions. All real numbers except x equals 2. Because that's the restriction. What if, and I'll finish with this. What if I, instead of getting this, I would get this? Let's assume the simplification here is not 0 but 5. Tell me what to write. Would you accept? No. What do you conclude then? No solutions. The equation has no solutions. But since we got a statement that we were able to live with for any x, see how important the restriction is?
Why
Would
not look and say the answer is 0 at the back instead of saying 0?
I don't know. This is problem 31 on 480, 31. I don't know. Yeah, have a good night. Don't forget to fill out that form, please. It will only take you a few minutes. It's a mistake. Where is it? This is section 7.
7.5.
Okay, 7.5. Uh, 7.5. Okay, problem 31. I don't know. No. Unless I copied something. Let me double check which was maybe I copied
We
probably.
found an error in math 11 as well.
Really?
So, yeah.
Let me double check because this was problem 31. Maybe I copied it incorrectly. 2. Yes, I did copy it incorrectly. Yeah, I'm so sorry. It was plus here. So this is not problem 31. Yes, I did copy. It was 2 over x minus. So the book is correct. So I'm assuming. So this was plus here. So sorry. Well, just remind me to redo to do it with plus. Yep, I copied the problem incorrectly. Sorry about that.
Good night.
Have a good night.